Yeah, I'm ready, baby.
Craving something scary.
What's going on? We are here on a Friday. Lethal Collective, Fate Decided, Craving Something Scary, and the Night Watch Zone. What's going on, guys?
What is up? What is up? Real
Hey.
quick, happy birthday! Got it. Gave you happy birthday.
That's right.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, man.
For those that didn't know, Knight had a birthday.
Yeah.
I heard you have one of those every year. Is that true?
Well, it's kind of a new thing,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's picking up. I might do one this year.
We'll
for next
see.
year.
We'll see. You might be ready for one. We'll see.
You never know.
You caught me off guard with that. And just to say, both of you guys are so sweet, as well as Jake. You guys are all right, man.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Sorry, I
thank you
missed
so
the
much.
stream. I had stuff come up. I know you guys did the birthday stream. I was originally going to join that, but as stuff caught up. And Grave, sorry I didn't even get back to you on it. I just had
That's
some
okay,
headaches.
man. It happens.
But,
I get it. Trust me.
But I did reach out tonight.
Yes, he did. It was the surprise of a century.
Fate.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. And hey to you guys in the chat, what's going on? Good to see you guys. Let's catch up here. Sorry we started late. Let's see. And we got Val, we got Extron, we got Russell, we got Carrie, we got Katie, we got Jen. Hey to all you guys.
Hey guys.
And let's see. Yeah. Let's see. And we've got a $2 super chat from Carrie.
Hey,
Positive vibes and love for our Lethal Collective. Well, thank you very much, Carrie. We appreciate
Carrie.
that.
Mucho.
Thank you guys for handling the chat and so forth. That was very, very cool of you guys. Much appreciated. You have no idea.
Yes. So
Hank,
absolutely.
What's up, Hank and Jason? Great to have you guys here. And also Nathan. All right. And 40 and Famous. Oh, I'm sorry, Fandomus. Okay.
Fandomus.
I love that. Oh, that is cool. I love that. What's up, Mav?
What's up, Mav?
All right. And Steven, of course, always able to multitask like nobody's business. Maybe except for Katie.
Maybe except for Katie. I nail it down to her.
And please, no spoilers for Smile. That would be great. And thank you, Katie. Thank you for the birthday wish. All right. And also, Val and Jen, thank you guys for putting in just the reminder to like the stream and so forth. We really appreciate that as well. So, guys, what do we got going on? Obviously,
a lot.
I mean, have you seen Smile, Fate?
I have not seen Smile yet. I did just see Terrifier 2.
Okay.
But I got to get caught up on Smile. I have not seen Smile yet. I got to see that.
Either. I'm waiting for it to drop to $6, which it should be soon. It's got to be soon.
Is it already streaming? You can
It is?
stream it?
Yeah, it's streaming right now for $20.
I might actually get that too. I might actually watch that.
I'm a cheapskate, man.
I don't blame you at all.
What platform is it on?
It's on Prime, I believe.
Smile is. Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
I'll double check it, but I think it is. Yeah, I saw it the other day for $20 to rent. And I'm like, oh, I got to wait till it drops to $6.
Oh, okay. Carrie coming in with another $2 super chat.
Hey, Carrie. Wow.
Look on Knight's face when Craven. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that was definitely a look.
There was a moment there when you were when I flipped the tables and I said, "This night is not about me at all. It's about someone else altogether." And I could see you like your gears were turning. Yeah. And then when I said your name, I saw you look at Coriander, and you're like, "Oh man, yeah." You could just. It was such a great moment, man.
It was. I'm speechless, and I was then too, man. That was really you guys.
What if Knight was like, "This isn't what I'm here for," and just exited? He's like,
okay, wait a second, come back.
What's up with all this? And everyone's like, "Huh?"
What? He's like, "What? This is what I thought this was." Just
exactly.
Thank you for that, Carrie. We really appreciate it, and thanks to everyone that joined us on Steven's channel. That was a lot of fun, and we're gonna do some more partying tonight. Just to let you guys know,
mm-hmm.
I'll be on at 8, and of course, just kind of hanging out, maybe talking a little bit of movies, but also some really cool games with some interactive games. Hopefully, you guys can swing by starting at 8. And yeah,
Nice.
you know, all right. And what's up,
Real
Kyle?
quick, have you guys seen Terrifier 2?
I have, yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't.
Okay,
Yeah.
like I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but
Yeah.
did you like Terrifier 2? I know Jake
Did
thought
I?
it was like the greatest movie ever, but what about
Well,
you?
well, okay. I guess I could. I'm going to be talking about it too later on, but yeah, I liked it. I mean, that's where I'll stop. I'll say I liked it. You know, I'll stop there because I don't want to. You know, but what are you thinking about it?
Hot take. I didn't think it was that good.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I didn't think it was bad, but
Right.
I think it was a lot more hyped than what it was than what the movie actually was. I felt like there was a lot of things that they could have done without. I felt like there was a
Yes.
lot of things that you hit the point and you just kept taking it far.
Yes.
There's
Yes. I agree.
one moment in particular. I'm sure you know what I'm
Which
talking
is
about.
impossible to happen.
Yes,
Is that what you?
and
Okay.
yeah, okay, yeah, you're on the same page. Yeah, that
Yes.
moment, I thought you established and you already made, like the hit point, and you had a great scene, and then I felt like they
Yes.
just kept going, and I was like, all right, you just ruined that scene. But
Yes.
I don't know. In general, I didn't think it was terrible, but
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, I wasn't disappointed, but I definitely agree with the hype thing going on. I think there
Yeah.
was a lot, and of course, I think part of that is the fallout from Ends and
Yeah.
and things like that as well. People kind of were
Mm.
taking sides even before Ends came out. You know, which one's going to be better and this and
Yeah.
that. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
Denisha, thank you for the super chat, and Denisha is keep an eye on the podcast. I'm telling you, you will be hired when we get to a certain level. Thank you so much, Denisha. Omni coming in. Oh
Real
yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
one last thing I want to say, because I do think it's important to say,
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
for the fact that Damien Leone did it independently, it was fantastic. But for like just
Yes.
a pure movie perspective, I wasn't really big on it. But the fact that he was able to create what he created and get the hype
Yes.
and the buzz and just everything going with that,
Mhm.
I mean, my hat off to Damien Leone, and I've had a couple conversations with him. Great guy, I really
Yeah.
like the guy. But beyond him being a great guy, fantastic what he was able to accomplish. I've just
I
felt like that
agree.
was important to hit home. But what's
Yeah.
going on, Omni?
Thank you, Omni. Much appreciated. $5 super chat.
Hey,
Supporting, so generous. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Much appreciated, man.
Yes.
Seriously.
Thank you.
very
Yeah.
much so. Thank you.
Denisha, you guys are spilling the tea on the tears. All right.
Oh,
Wes, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And happy birthday night.
hey,
And here's to many, many more. Lethal Collective rocks. Thanks so much, bro. Much appreciated. Seriously.
yes.
You gave
And I think we're
$10, so the
caught up.
dogs are getting in on it. We even have the special guests in the background.
We
Right?
do. They're like, oh, well, yeah, let's
They're the hype
go.
man. They're the
They
hype
are
ones.
loving it, hyping it up.
Oh man.
Every super chat we get, I'll poke my dogs till they bark, just so you guys can hear them. No, just
I
kidding.
love that. That's great. Oh my gosh. But no, but to go back to, and Bullet, thank you for that. But to go back to a little bit what you were saying too, Fate, I agree with you. I do. They kind of went to that extra place that they didn't have to do a few times, and that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But I will say, for horror fans that are big into practical and so forth and so forth, I don't want to spill too much, but it was a great movie from that perspective, because some of the stuff that they were doing, I was like, wow,
No, they did a
I've never
fantastic
seen that.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job in that sense. And I mean, look, this is public information, like the gore and stuff, and like the aesthetic. That I mean, Damien Leone hyped that up tenfold, which was incredible.
Mhm.
I'm not big on gore just for the sake of gore.
Right. That's
You know
how
what
I
I mean?
am
Like,
too.
Yeah.
I don't mind a good gory scene. Like, you know,
Mhm.
like that's great. You know, like I don't mind that, but
Agreed.
and I don't mind if it fits the story that you're telling. I don't mind, you
Yeah.
know, like I liked Hostel, Like I think
Yeah.
Hostel is there. I liked all of the movies. There's like 5 of them now, and I liked all of them. But like it's gory, but it fits the story of the gore, right? The whole
Right.
point is it's like torture porn as they call it. So
That's
you go
right.
into that movie expecting that, you understand it, you get it, and it fits the narrative. I felt like there were a
Right.
lot of times where it was like, how can we make this scene better? More gore, more
Right.
blood.
Let's go
And
further,
that's what,
further than we've
yeah,
ever gone before. Yeah.
exactly. And that's kind of where I'm like, all right, like I guess, like I'm not squeamish or nothing. I could care less, but I just
Right.
was like taking a little over
Dude,
the top.
there was this one guy in back of us in the theater. Every time something happened, you could hear an audible gasp, kind of like the ugh type of thing. And at one point, I was like, dude, you had to know what you were signing up for. This is Terrifier 2. I mean,
Well,
like,
Damien Leone made that very public. Like this is going to
yes,
be a very gory movie. Like they had
right,
articles, like everything. Like this was like that was not something that was like kept under wraps. Where like
right,
you should have been surprised, but
exactly.
and Haunted by Horror. I don't know if there's 5 of them. I was just being over dramatic, but I know there's at least 3 of them. I know there's at least 3 hostels, but
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know how
3.
many. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Shaka too. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Nice.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. And Carrie, thanks for putting the link in there. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. And hey to David and Gina's in the chat too. What's going on? You guys are just awesome. And Kevin is in the chat. What's up, bro? Now, what about? Let's also move to Barbarian because Steven, now you've seen it.
I did.
And
I did see
I
it.
haven't heard any of your thoughts on it, even if it's just non-spoilerish. What are you thinking about
Mhm.
Barbarian?
I liked the movie. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again. It was kind of those movies where, for me, just me personally, the rewatchability, I don't know that it's there, but I enjoyed the ride. It was,
Yeah,
and I won't give specific things, but if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
There comes a point where things shift dramatically. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah,
And
you're right.
you're like, wait a second, what's happening right now? I don't understand. And Michael and I watched it together, Carbonite Jedi on the Movie Bros,
Right.
and we're like, what's going on? And that's all I can really
Mhm.
say. What's happening? Of course, then
Right.
it all makes sense later, but I wasn't expecting what happened. It was because I
Mhm.
went in blind. I didn't even watch a trailer. So
Yeah.
I had no clue. I didn't read a synopsis or anything. All I knew was the name, Barbarian. That's all I knew. So
Right.
I didn't know what it was going to be. I had ideas like, oh, Barbarian. I think, I have all kinds of mental ideas, but it was nothing
Mhm.
like what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was, that doesn't mean bad or good. It's just, I'm glad it was different than what I thought. I liked it. I would say it's a good movie. I thought it was well made. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it a great movie, in my opinion, but I do think it's a solid good.
Mhm.
But I don't. Again, I might could watch it one more time, but I don't think
Yeah.
it'd be any more after that. Personally,
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
Caught me
And
by
also,
surprise.
what's up to Smells Like Teen Horror too? What
Hey,
were you gonna
what's up,
say, Fate?
Eric?
Oh,
But
I thought I cut you off.
oh no, you're fine. I will say something is like Barbarian, because me and Craven touched on this a little bit on Monday stream, and yeah, like without like spoiling or anything, like I wasn't big on the movie. I really wasn't.
Mhm.
Like I felt it started off as a really great movie, and I wish they would have just kept that trajectory, because it was
Right.
almost like 2 movies in one, and it starts and you're
Yep.
just kind of like, you're kind of like, oh, this is like, all right, like what's going on here? Like, is he like what is this? Wait a minute, what is that? Like, and they have
Right.
you on this like just almost like suspense style film, and you're like, and I just felt like once you reach that midway point, it's like,
Mhm.
all right, like I guess I just
Yeah.
felt like if they would have kept the story what it originally started out to be, I think it would have been a really good
Mhm.
movie. I just thought like, the big twist. I can without it. I mean, I'm not upset that I watched it, but it wasn't one of those movies that I was like, yay. Like I wouldn't be like, you know what movie you have to see? Barbarian.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like,
Right.
Right.
you know, like yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like like that. But
Yeah,
I would not.
I would have liked to have seen if they had kept it on that trajectory as well,
Mhm.
because it was
Yes.
really building up a lot of things, and not to do any spoilers, but it had multiple twists in it, which was fun in and of itself because it's like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? Because I saw it in the theater, but when you kind of have a moment to let it absorb a little bit, I agree with you guys. There were certain things that they made left turns on, which I wish they hadn't. And I think it would have
Mhm.
been stronger or more rewatchable, I should say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and that's a big thing because sometimes a twist can be something that lasts for a long time to be able to be rewatchable, and sometimes it's just a moment, just like an
Mhm.
adrenaline rush for that moment. But real
Yeah.
quick too, Danny was asking, do we consider art a new slasher horror icon?
I don't. I wouldn't say
I
not
don't.
not yet. I like
Yeah.
you know Dan Leone is planning on at least a trilogy. That was his goal. That
Hmm.
was his idea, and I definitely think he gets it now.
Hmm.
Especially with the success of this one. But yeah, I think you gotta. I mean, if you're talking about like icon or icon, like think of like all the name. But yeah, I just not yet. I think you
Yeah.
got to get a couple
It's
more
too
movies in your
soon.
belt.
I
Yeah.
agree with
Yeah.
that.
Same.
Absolutely. Yep. And Jen is bringing in a $2 super chat saying March the 9th or maybe March the 10th, Scream being
Close.
pushed forward or
March
pushed
the
Well,
up.
10th.
technically, Jen's not wrong because they usually have, like 9
Premiere.
p.m. the day before, like
That's
thing.
true.
True.
So you're not wrong. But yes, it's officially the 10th, which we could talk about and dive into in a minute. Wayne said Barbarian's name reminds me of a wrestler from the 80s.
Yeah,
It's
there was a wrestler named from the WWF, the
That's
Barbarian.
great.
Yep.
but
Absolutely.
but yeah, so the big news is March 10th. We got the movie pushed 3 weeks early. It's like 20 days, but close enough, almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Real quick, what are our thoughts on that? And do you guys think that this means we'll start getting things like the trailer and like promotion stuff sooner? Craven, you want to start?
Sure. Sure. So I was thinking about it earlier, and they released the trailer for 5. I think it was October 12th or 14th, one of those days.
Yeah.
And the movie released January 14th. So if we were to go by that same kind of math, then dropping on the 10th, we should have a trailer, a full-blown trailer by the 10th of December. Somewhere around that first week for my birthday would be an amazing birthday gift if they
Woohoo.
drop a trailer on the 5th, which it could happen.
Right.
It's right in the middle. I do think it'll move it up because I was saying trailer comes end of December, which made
Hmm.
sense. And I think now that they've wound the calendar back or the time back, I do think we get the trailer literally in 4 or 5 weeks from now. We're that close to it.
Yeah.
And the posters will start dropping, all that stuff we talked about. That's what I'm thinking, guys.
I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that. I mean, and it makes perfect sense. They're moved up, so their time frame is earlier. So we
Mhm.
should see things earlier. If
Yeah.
we don't, then I'll be a little concerned. I don't know
What
about
are you
you guys.
hiding? Are you
Yeah,
concerned here?
yeah, I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah.
What do you think, Fate?
Yeah. What do you think, Nate?
I definitely think that's the idea, right? Like say
Yeah.
we were gonna get a trailer, January 5th, right? Well, now
Hmm.
you'd imagine 3 weeks you'd get it December, right?
Right.
Mhm.
I really think now we're gonna start seeing stuff this month, not like a trailer or anything like that, but I definitely think they start like posters, like maybe
Hmm.
collaborations, things like that,
Hmm.
things along those lines. But I think December. I think like middle of December we probably get a trailer,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then they'll probably do like the breakdown trailer for the other one like they did last time. And we'll probably just get like in January and February we'll probably get like 15 different little small trailers, and then
Right.
that'll lead into the movie. But I mean this is clearly a good thing because I don't think they would have moved it back if they didn't think that they were ready. And they've had
Right.
everything kind of lined up, right? I mean, they had all the stuff I mean, they knew they were doing Scream 6 like 4 months before Scream 5 even came out. You know, because they secured all the filming locations, they did everything.
Mhm.
So I mean, all of that stuff was already ready to go. So I imagine that they already had their ducks in a row. They were ready to go. And I also
agree.
think it makes more sense because they were like slot right in the middle of like John Wick and
Oh,
like
yeah,
Mario.
dude.
I think
Yes.
like Mario comes out
Mhm.
and there's like 3 or
Yep.
4 things. So I think they were looking at it as like, okay, like we're gonna have to compete with that audience. Let's
Mhm.
jump into this. Kind of like, like Morbius came
Yep.
out, so they released the movie before Morbius. So that way
Yes.
they, because after like the first week, you've pretty much made the bulk of your money. Whatever else you make is just, cake after that. Now this
Right.
puts
Oh.
them like, because John Wick I think comes out on like the 17th, something like that. So
I think
I thought it was
so.
the 24th, but I could be wrong. I thought maybe it was.
Oh,
I thought they got 2 weeks ahead now. I could be wrong.
okay,
I
maybe.
could look it
I
up.
mean, they might. I
I
mean,
thought it
regardless,
was.
whether it's a week or 2 weeks, I mean, regardless, you got ahead of the game, so now you don't have to compete with anything, and so that's always good
Yeah.
because that means this is just going to be more
Smart.
successful, which means that they'll go and get a 7. So as long as they can, ramp up the marketing,
Mhm.
I'm just I'm curious if they're going to just like jam pack, like if we're just going to get like, because they spread out that marketing over like a 6-7 month period.
Well, you
Right?
think
Yeah.
about it. It started in September with the
Mhm.
Yeah, something like
Airbnb,
yeah.
early December, and then they started doing a little poster, and then the trailer in October, and then November, December were jammed with the social media,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
Toothbrush Sarah, the
Yep.
TikTok voice changer, which, by the way, you guys saw they announced like a week ago that that's back on TikTok. The Ghostface voice,
Nice.
Changer.
the chain thing, it's back on, and so they're already starting
Cool.
to get ready. I think to hit the go light, the green light. But I think you're right, Fate. I think once it starts, it's going to be. They're going to pound it
It's
all
just
of
boom, boom,
December,
boom, boom, boom.
January.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bang, 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 bang. January and February is going to be nuts. We're going to be like chickens with our heads cut off to make content. It's going to be like calling you and texting you. Night, did you see this? Fate, did you see this? We got to go.
Right. That is.
Let's go
Yeah,
live.
you're right.
We're going to do it live. Anyway.
Do it live.
Do it live. All right, we'll do it live.
What's going on, Austin?
Hey, Austin.
Hey, Austin.
And we got Lighting Ghost coming in with a $5 super chat saying hello.
Hey.
What's going on, Lighting Ghost?
What's happening?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Very much.
The legend, the myth, the legend, Lighting Ghost.
Yes, indeed. If you ever need to
Very
get
cool.
if you ever need to get 2 people to dance on your live stream, Lighting Ghost will make it happen.
There's
Legend.
only one person that can make it happen.
That's it.
I love it.
There
I love
can
it.
be only one.
Right? I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
But but
No, you go ahead.
no, I was just gonna pivot into the next little segment. But if you got something to say, go
Okay.
ahead.
No.
Oh,
No, just BS.
okay. I didn't want to hear it anyway. So
Of course you did.
But no, in all seriousness, so Friday the 13th, right? We're getting a
Yes.
prequel.
Yep.
Camp Crystal Lake,
Crystal
Camp
Lake. Yep.
but set in Crystal Lake.
Mhm.
And so kind of seems to me at least that we're getting kind of like a first movie, like more expanded into
Yeah.
a series form. It
Mhm.
also looks like we might be getting a Jason movie with New Line Cinema. It's kind of
Right.
it's being kind of teased.
Mhm.
Now, originally, the panic was like, there's not going to be Jason, like what, like what's
Yep.
going on here? But then we got the update where photos of my sister. I'm sorry, spam bot cut me off. I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh,
No.
man. Like, dude, like that was
Oh my
very
gosh.
that was very specific. Like, damn, like,
Yeah, it was.
It
I
is.
hope
It doesn't
that's
get more
not- I hope
specific than
that's
that.
not real. I hope that's that was funny. Because usually it's like girls, like describe your girls, not like my sister. But
Dang.
sorry,
man.
back on track.
Wow. That got you.
Back on track. is so now we know that they actually have the rights to do whatever they want under the umbrella of Friday the 13th. So they can use Jason, they can use like this, they can use all that stuff from what they said. Thing is I don't imagine they will, unless this is like a half and half series where like, so say it's like a 10 episode series, right? Maybe the first 5 are like episode 1, and then the next 5 are like, or the first movie, and then the next 5 are like the, second or third movie. Like maybe it's something like that where they do that. Because if the entire series is, Pam Voorhees, I don't think we're going to get Jason. We're going to say it.
No, I was just going to say, the way that it was worded, quote unquote, was expanded prequel. So to me, when I saw that, I think it was Variety, when they put the word expanded, that really opened up a lot of gates to me, because there's been, and I was saying this the other day on my live stream, there's been prequel material about Friday the 13th all the way back to like 86 when Jason Lives came out, and they were talking about, Jason's father. It didn't end up in the movie, but they had scripted out some ideas and stuff, Tom McLaughlin, who directed Friday 6. And there's been comic book form, things about Elias Voorhees and Pamela, and I mean, tons of stuff. So to me, when I heard the word expanded, and knowing that they've got access to the movies, because they brought in one of the guys from Horror Inc., the people with Sean Cunningham, it made me think, they could do a whole bunch of stuff. They could pull from a lot of material, plus maybe some new things to add to the mythology, to maybe bridge Jason into it near the end, or maybe the finale, or it could go so many ways that it's crazy.
I imagine we get Jason at the end.
Yeah,
I imagine
I
in the last episode, like that'll be the cliff. That'll likely be the cliffhanger, is like to set up the second season. Will be Jason at the end, because I don't imagine they do an entire series without that. I mean, I'm sure we'll get like a young Jason, but like and look, I'm all for it. I am, but I do have a couple concerns. What like primarily like with like so they have like the expanded story, like Jason, if he's not in the movie, one, will this have success? Because Friday the 13th is synonymous with Jason, like when you think of Friday the 13th, and look, like to quote Randy from Scream, Mrs. Voorhees was a terrific serial killer. There's always room for Candyman's daughter, right? But the mask idea is Jason Voorhees, like diehard Friday the 13th fans, people that are just even just familiar with the body of work is great. But the thing is it's called Camp Crystal Lake, so how many people are going to make that connection for the general audience? And then even the ones that do, they go, oh, Camp Crystal Lake, oh, I wonder if this is a Friday the 13th thing, and then they don't see Jason. They're like, oh, this is some other thing that's called Camp Crystal. And then they just kind of click up. I'm curious about that. And just like, and my biggest concern is how much of this will be an actual like slasher level film if they're doing a prequel with Pamela Voorhees. And they're not, and it's not like just a carbon copy of, the first film put into a series form. And one of the things that why I bring up that concern is they called this a drama series. They said in the interview on several occasions, they didn't say horror or slasher or horror drama. They said drama series. If this is a drama series, I don't think it'll work. Like if this is just like a drama about like Pamela Voorhees and her like mental breakdown from losing her kid, and then we don't get any kills or anything till like episode 8 or something like that, I don't know how great that's gonna work. Like, what are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, they are gonna have to. And by the way, what's going on? You guys just coming in, Keon? What's up?
Hey, Keon.
I think that, well, first of all, if they were to only, and I don't think they're going to just rely on Pamela. If I was to take a stab at it, I think they're going to do what fans have been talking about I mean, like I said, since all the way back to like 86. They're going to bring in Elias. You know, they're going to have, you know, the father figure and something going on with him. But they have access to the movies. So to me, they might even do something even crazier where they kind of touch upon the events in the story's present day, which, you know, could be, you know, Friday from 1980, you know, and they could have flashbacks, they could have flash forwards and really
Yeah.
make it some type of thing where
That's
it's
what I'm
almost
thinking,
this,
too.
yeah, this whole
Mhm.
superstitious place and so many tales, and there were tales, you know, back in 1973, and the legend continues today. You know, they could, if they did it that way, I think they can kind of kill two birds with one stone. But if they're thinking of it as a drama, they just have to be careful. Like the best example I can give of a show that went back to a very loved property and did a prequel and did it well was Bates Motel.
Oh
To
man, that
me,
was
to
so good.
me, and I was totally against Bates Motel. This was long before I was doing YouTube, but I had
Mhm.
many conversations with my brother because I'm a huge fan of Psycho, a huge fan of Hitchcock, a huge fan of Anthony Perkins, and I was dead set against it. Even though I love Vera Farmiga and I knew she was going to play Norma, I still didn't want to see it. Of course, I checked it out and I was hooked. And, you know, and I think they did a great job. And of course, they did lead up to Psycho, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
spoilers, but um,
There's
Mhm.
a lot
so
of that.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, if these guys can do make the right movements and have the right actors, I think it can work. But I truly think it's going to be stories from, you know, quote unquote the past and also modern day or quote unquote future stuff
Mhm.
to incorporate Jason. That's what I think. I could be wrong though, but that's
Yeah.
what I think. What about you, Steven?
I think that's a great idea. And honestly, if they don't do that, I think they're missing it, man, because you can
Hmm.
make it entertaining. And there's another thing that I believe her name was Susan, the head of programming, Universal Doc. When she talked about the drama series, she also ended that paragraph by saying, "This is something that the longtime fans of the franchise are really going to love."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for her to say that, I have to believe that they've got the fans in mind by that statement,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah.
I think the way you do, like you said, Bates Motel is the model. If you ask me,
Yeah.
it's the
Yep.
perfect model for this. And
It is.
if they follow it, dude, you could do multiple seasons leading up to the final, like where we see in the movie,
Hmm.
where but leading up to that point, who knows, she could be a psychopath or sociopath,
Yep.
and she could be doing stuff all over the place that before that camp even happens, like, or not the camp,
Right.
but what I'm trying to say, before
Yeah. The
Jason and all
tragedy.
the tragedy all happens. What if
Hmm.
we find out she's completely nuts, like
Hmm.
from the beginning?
She was
I mean,
Right.
already
there's
unhinged.
already unhinged, right? There was already
Yeah.
like it was a perfect storm was set, and when
Hmm.
and I'm excited. Honestly, I am. I know
I
that
am too. I am
I
too.
really am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I am too.
Absolutely.
I just, like I said, my only concerns are like it's just like how, look, and I love that they're trying to appease the fans, but
Hmm.
your success derives from the masses, not just the fandom.
Right.
Because look, us as a fandom, and I even said this in the video that I made, us as a fandom, like we're gonna watch it regardless, right?
Right.
Because we want to see, we're curious, we we love the series, but we're not going to be enough to cause success for them to go, oh, let's continue this story. And
Hmm.
so, if you do something that doesn't really, because that's my concern with this type of prequel
Yeah.
is they got to structure it in a way for people that are, the casuals that maybe haven't seen, you know, Friday the 13th, the
Yes.
original, or even if they did, they just don't, they just don't even think of Mrs. Voorhees. They just think of Jason and stuff. You need to have that all connected and make sense. Where if you're just telling a story and you're
Hmm.
not tying it into the first movie, and it's kind of, and it's just stuff that like, oh, us as a fandom, we get that, we understand that reference, we know what that
Right.
means. You're going to
Yeah.
lose a lot of people. Like the beauty of Bates Motel is that they told the story from start to finish. And there
True.
was so much in between, and they were able to, over a multitude of seasons, but they were also to keep you engaged. They were able to, they had the kills, so it was just always constantly flowing and moving. They
Right.
gotta, like, that's a good template for prequel series going forward. Like, they gotta do that. They gotta kind of
Yeah.
follow
Mhm.
that type of model where you're cluing in the total audience, even if you've never seen Friday the 13th. You can
Yeah.
still enjoy this, understand it, grasp it, and keep it enough to where the fandom is like, "Oh, this is great." But
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And real quick too, we got a couple more super chats that come in, so I'll get to these real quick. Neil coming in with a $10 super chat saying
Hey.
support
What?
dream. Thank you
Thank
so
you, Neil.
much.
Yes.
we're just
appreciate
living the dream, Neil. You're
We
awesome.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you.
We're trying.
Now,
Thank
you
so
guys,
much.
let me tell you, you guys super chats help us live this dream. You're helping to make this happen every week. So
Absolutely.
you guys, thank y'all so much. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. And also
Kisses.
Eric, the
Hey.
Bearded Entertainment, coming in with a
The.
$10
Thank you so
super
much.
chat. Thank
Hey,
you.
Eric.
Thank you. Saying, I think the main difference is Psycho wasn't set up as the beginning of the Bates. Friday the 13th indicates that Pamela went crazy because Jason died. So I already know where it started. That it's true, but just like with Bates Motel, taking some liberties, setting it in modern
Mhm.
times, and there were a couple things they changed around too, as far as the mythology. And when Variety said this series is an expanded prequel, that kind of, like I said, that just cued me in to think that they might take some liberties too.
Yeah.
Whether they do or not, I don't know, but I think they might, because again, there's a
Mhm.
lot of prequel material that has been around for years, decades, and I think they're gonna, pull from some of these things and maybe some things that they come up with themselves to make this story really interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see old characters that we love, like a Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh,
I could see that.
yeah.
How did he
Yeah.
become Crazy Ralph? Who knows what was going on? You know
That's
what I'm saying?
right.
So I think there's a lot of possibilities. And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm excited about is that, and we just did a lot of talking about Halloween and Michael's mythology and so forth. And I've been very vocal saying that Michael's mythology is very narrow, which is an advantage, but it can also be a hindrance, right? But with something like Friday, you really could open this thing up quite a bit, because there has been a precedent for Elias Voorhees. There has been these characters that were around, before the events of the first movie, like a Crazy Ralph and so forth. And plus, it's a town that is surrounded by Crystal Lake. So who knows what's going on? We saw a little bit of that in part 3, some of the
Mm-hmm.
town residents that were around Crystal Lake and how they reacted to things and so forth. So I think the possibilities are endless. If done right. It's always
Same.
about executing it
Do
correctly.
Kevin Bacon. That's the question.
Do what?
Oh,
What if we get Kevin Bacon? That's the question.
that's DH on my feet.
Right?
They just have what if he played the role of Crazy Ralph?
Dude,
Oh, there
that would
you
be
go.
so cool.
That would
Now that,
Oh
yeah.
my
that would
god.
be great.
It would.
It would be a nice little reference, a nice little tie-in, a nice little like hint, wink, wink, but also playing like a memorable character.
Right.
That would be
Hey
cool.
man, you never know.
The
You never know.
unraveling of
That would
Ralph. That's
the unraveling. I like that.
the unraveling. But I mean,
Also, you see Bluckus comment real quick on at 7:06. I thought was interesting. And you probably
Brian,
hadn't got to it yet. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Brian Fuller says it will be pretty murderous. I think we'll be dropping bodies every episode, and I think there's something about the build of that, as we are hopefully in for the long haul, that makes it sound like an episodic investigation series to me.
It could be.
I wouldn't
Maybe.
mind that at
Yeah.
all. So, like,
I wouldn't either.
I would like Friday the 13th to actually just get on a track, because we're just so all over the place with Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It's so many different directions, so many different mythologies, so many films that can't stop other films, this, that, and the other. I would like to see them kind of just like right the ship a little bit and just have like a structured, fluid story. I mean, we've all said like Jason X is like a guilty pleasure. Like I love that movie. You know what I mean? Like, and some of those movies are great, but it'd be nice to have like some continuity, some like actual structure into this
Right.
that maybe ties into the films. Like even if they're gonna like, how cool would it be if you had, like the whole series, the Crystal Lake series, and that is filling in the gaps for the New Line Cinema movies.
Yeah,
And they're
that would
kind of
be
like
cool.
working in tandem together. Like that would be, and now you have this continuity. You have like this
Mhm.
thing. I mean, look, I am all for the series, and if you're going to keep expanding, I mean, you can go on forever. I mean, you could do.
Yeah.
Good.
There's so many directions that you go. You just keep telling the story, and then have the films. And I don't think a prequel movie would do as well as a series would.
Agreed.
So I
Agreed.
understand why they did the series as opposed to a
Mhm.
film, and I'm actually glad
Yeah.
they did.
Yep.
Because I mean, one of the things that like we were talking about before, like from day one, I would say like whoever owns Jason owns Friday the 13th. Like it's cute that you own Crystal Lake. It's cute that you own, the original story of Mrs. Voorhees and stuff. But who owns Jason and is going to have the ability to make a Jason movie? Because we've seen Jason everywhere,
Right.
space, Manhattan.
Mhm.
They don't like they
New
could
Orleans.
easily just throw Jason in the Camp Geyser Lake and
Right.
and nobody would care. Everyone would be like, "Hey, it's Jason."
Jason's back. Yeah.
At
Yeah.
some point, they're going to have to incorporate Jason into this. And
Mhm.
I do think it's either going to be like sort of a split series, depending on how many episodes it is, of course. If it's like a small, like we're seeing a lot of like limited series now where it's like 4 episodes. If
Right.
it's something like that, then I could see them just sticking with, the Mrs. Voorhees story, the expanded storytelling, all that stuff. But I think if you're going to have like an 8 to 10 episode series, I think you
Mhm.
got to have some Jason at some
Yeah.
point to grab the masses' attention,
Mhm. Yeah.
unless it's just
And
that captivating, execution
right.
film.
Yeah. If it's a home run, yeah, obviously.
Mhm.
And Omni makes a good point too, because we got characters that are all over the map. Alice, who worked at the camp before. We've got
Mhm.
Chris, up at Higgins Haven, who was there before and got attacked by Jason and survived before the events of part 3. They could obviously always try to do something with Tommy. So there's
Tommy,
a lot
dude.
of places they could go. Tina. I mean, it's literally endless. You know what I'm saying? And like you were saying, Fate, this series, what I'm excited about as a huge Friday 13th fan for decades is that this series could really right the ship for the franchise, because the last couple of installments have been all over the place. You've got Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy versus Jason, and then the reboot, and they're all over the place and this and that. And even in the fan films, a lot of times they just start somewhere and they just carve a new path. And they literally could do this with this prequel series, and it could extend into the new movies. And I mean, that's even crazier than
Good.
what they did with Halloween. Because with Halloween, yeah, they went down some new paths, but there was a lot of nostalgia and connections. This could change the whole face of Friday the 13th. This could go in a whole nother place. Like you said, if they have, even if they have whatever investigations and, some type of character that is introduced that is very good, a good character, this could be a whole new character that'll be loved by the fans if it's done right, if it's the right actor or actress, and so forth. So, as a big fan, I'm hugely curious, interested, and hopeful that it'll do that. Because we waited for 13 years. 13
Oh,
years is a
absolutely.
long time.
It is.
you
I
know.
I love the idea, and I've said this
Yeah.
repeatedly. I love the idea of taking some of these iconic. Oh, Perp's reading my mind. I love
Yep.
the idea of taking some of these iconic horror franchises and turning them into series, because you can do so much more. You can let
Yep.
things unravel. You can tell the story more. Rather than like jam packing
Yep.
everything into an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
you can kind of let things sit and marinate, and
That's
I
right.
really like that ability. And I like you're seeing that with Chucky and now Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be shocked if, Halloween and, Friday the 13th and all these other franchises kind of follow suit. Like I would love like Perp said, like Final Destination, that'd be great. I would love
Mhm.
could you imagine like a Jeepers Creepers series diving into all the mythology
That
and
would be
stuff,
so
like
cool.
all the graphic novels and stuff? Like that'd be
Mhm.
incredible. You could do so much, and you already have a template to do it. Like it's
You
just
do.
there's so many things that you could do that
Mhm.
I'm all for it. My only
Yeah.
concern is like budgetary. Like,
Right.
I am all for A24 getting a chance, because this is now, for the most part, they've done nothing but like smaller IP, smaller,
Mhm.
independent films, smaller budget things. And my concern is, will they put the money in to let this be successful? Or did they
Right.
hire A24 because they've done more with less? That's a real concern that I have. If they're looking at it
Right.
as like, man,
Mm-hmm.
they made like X and Pearl on like $20. Like, so imagine
Right.
what they could do with the Friday the 13th. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's my concern. Or is Peacock actually gonna put the money in to make this a quality series, to where it's
Right.
like, okay, like they did some good stuff? Because I would love to see A24 get a chance.
I
And
would too, man.
yeah,
And I
Oh,
hope,
me
and I
too.
hope,
this could be it. This could be it.
yeah, and I hope they follow suit of going, the practical route, and have someone that is overseeing, that stuff, the special, effects, makeup, and stuff like that. Kind of like how with The Walking Dead, you had Greg Nicotero that was basically driving that train. And if nothing else, The Walking Dead has always, had some really good quality effects, and that was practical, for the most part. They had a little bit of CGI to smooth it out a little bit, but it was still practical based. um and also we got a $2 super chat from Katie, popping the popcorn herself, saying happy
Hey,
Friday,
Katie.
Thank
fellas.
you. Thank you so much,
Y'all
Kate.
are amazing.
Aw,
Love you too,
thank
Katie.
you. It's very
We love
sweet.
you. Yeah, that is very
Yes,
sweet.
you were all right. And Nanette's coming in with a $10 super
Oh,
chat. Thank you,
wow.
Nanette,
Awesome.
much
Thank you
appreciated.
so much.
Wow,
Wow.
thank you. Saying, question for everyone: what do you hope to see done on the show Camp Crystal Lake? I just wanted to be very simple. I just want it to be good. I mean,
Yeah.
I may not have been pulling for a horror-based show so hard as this one in forever. I just want it to be good, and like I said earlier, Bates Motel definitely proved to me that I have to keep an open mind until I see it, because I was staunchly against Bates Motel up until I saw it that night. I was just like, guys, I'm not down with this. They're gonna ruin Psycho. They're gonna ruin the character of Norman Bates, and I was wrong. So hopefully I'm gonna see some great
Yes.
stuff with the show. How about you guys?
Craven, welcome.
Yeah. I mean, my criteria is not much more stringent than Knight's. I just want it to be good. We've been speculating on different theories and stuff, and there's so many ways. Like we say, this is one of those things where it truly is. The world is defeat scenarios for A24 and Brian Fuller, who's writing it. And, someone mentioned in the comments earlier about how with Heroes, how it was an investigative type show as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so, I keep going back to that idea, that things are happening, it's investigating episode by episode. But whatever it is, for me, I'm not so much on the granular level. I'm much more at the picture that just make it well, get good
Mm-hmm.
actors, cast
Yes.
it well, please.
Yes.
Get
That's
us
where it
some good.
starts.
Yes, it starts
Yeah.
there. Like, imagine Norman Bates Motel without Vera and
Freddie
without
Highmore.
Freddie. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, I mean, sure, other people could have done it, I'm sure, but I
Yeah,
can't picture that not being them. And their acting was so captivating.
it
Everyone, even the
was.
brother, Freddie's brother,
Yes.
was
Yes. I loved
great.
him.
Yeah,
And God,
real
I
good.
can't think of her name that played
Hmm.
the
The girlfriend.
the girl. I can't
Yeah,
remember her name. I absolutely
can't
love
either.
her, and she's actually in Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and been in other stuff
Ah.
too. But she's fantastic, and yeah, they had a great cast for Bates Motel. A great cast.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all
Hmm.
I want. I want a great cast, really good, smart writing, and
Yeah.
then of course here comes the big word, execute it. Directing,
Yes.
whoever's directing it, just do a great job, and I'll be happy as long as those things are in place. I'm not. I mean, I'm just going to be surprised. Like, let's go. Now, it's like in a roller
Hmm.
coaster. Let's get on and ride it. you
Hmm.
know.
Absolutely. No doubt. No doubt at all.
What about you, Fate? Do you have any other
Yeah, no,
specifics?
Mhm.
I want it to feel like a Friday the 13th IP. Like,
Yeah.
I am all for like the investigation and stuff like that, and like changing things up, especially, but I don't want to watch it and be like, this isn't Friday the 13th. You just have
Mhm.
it's just Friday the 13th just because of the
Mhm.
names. You know, like
Yeah.
I want it to be
Yeah.
like I want to feel like it's something. You know, give us those elements. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I like good storytelling, absolutely. Um, good characters, good direction, make things make sense. You know, like
Yes.
have you know you don't want
True.
it to be all over the place. Like so, have
Mhm.
a story that's fluid, and just like you know, tell a yeah, just basically story. Just tell a proper story that we can
Mhm.
all grasp, that we can all understand, that we can all sort of buy into, that you can continue and continue to expand on and expand into the whatever. Also, I want one way or another a clear establishment of film and series. So, and in a
Mhm.
multitude of ways. So, like one, like if it's gonna tie in to the films, great. Establish that, make it like known, like to where it's obvious. If you're
Yeah.
not, and it's gonna be like kind of your own thing, great, that's fine, but make it be that, you know, because you don't want mythologies to start getting mixed up and things, and now like nobody understands anything because everyone thinks that they're tied in and it
Yeah.
doesn't line up and all that stuff. And then you know, like, and even if it is its own thing, like, you know, like for example, like Marvel's Agents of Shield, right? Like that
Yeah.
wasn't the same people, that
Exactly.
wasn't the same everything, but it tied into the films, and it was
Mhm.
established, and it established it within the series that it was tied into the film. Like, so that's my only thing too, is that like, because it looks like we're going to get movies, and if we're going to get movies, we need a an understanding of like, okay, like this is all
Exactly.
just one
Yeah.
thing together, or these are
Mhm.
two separate things, so don't mix them together, because you don't want to go
Right.
into season 2 after a movie and you're like, none of this makes sense, and
Mhm.
now it just all over the place, and it's like, all right, like sure,
Yeah.
but
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But thank you for that, Nanette. We really appreciate it, and
Yes. Thank you.
very, very kind of you. We also have Omni coming in with a $2 super chat
thank you so much.
saying,
Hey.
"Yeah, thank you so much." Saying, "Do you guys think we'll get a we'll get a
Right.
horror MCU?"
I don't anymore. I
Yeah. I
really
don't. I
don't.
don't either.
Yeah.
They've tried so many times and they can't, because the problem is too many people that own all the IPs and stuff like that, and none of them want to work together. They've tried
Mhm.
Yeah.
so many times, even with the Freddy versus Jason thing. They tried to
Hmm.
have like 5 other characters, like Pinhead.
Yep.
They tried to
Candyman.
have yeah, Candy, like all that. And they just never have been able to. They've literally tried to do like like an MCU before the MCU. Like they
That's
tried to
true.
have like I tried to think of what movie it was. Um, man, what movie? Blucka, I know you know because we talked about this before. What was the movie that the first established movie that was supposed to be the start of a MCU or whatever? But nonetheless, I don't think they're ever going to be able to do
Yeah.
it. Just because I just think it's too. I would love it. I would love if
Yeah.
they like figured it out and came up with a
Right.
way to do it. But I just yeah, there you go. Wolfman Dracula Untold. That was the one I was thinking. Dracula Untold.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah. So I just yeah, I don't know if they'll ever be able to do it. They've tried too many times.
Yeah. I agree. I
Never
I, I
been.
don't I agree with everything you said. It's about as simple as that. I think it's just so difficult. I mean, it took so long. I mean, it was over a decade for them to do Freddy versus Jason. You know,
Yeah,
they had like
Mhm.
over 20 drafts of the script. They had multiple directors attached and so forth and so forth. I just think it's too many moving parts for most horror icons. Now, there are a couple that are closer, their lanes are closer to each other than others. So I'm not
Mhm.
going to say never, but I don't think we will, at least no time soon.
yeah.
But thank you so much for that, Omni.
Yeah.
Much
Great question.
appreciated. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good question. Could you imagine though? That would be kind of cool though, if they could do it right. If they could do
Mm.
it right, because one thing about Freddy versus Jason, to me, Freddy versus Jason is a great Freddy movie, but not a great Jason movie. But they did marry the mythologies in a way that I could kind of get on board with. I was like, okay, they kind
Mhm.
of figured it out, and I was okay with that.
Well, they technically did that, Friday the 13th with the Deadite. They wanted to really expand that.
That's right.
They wanted to have Jason be a Deadite or whatever, and that was
Yep.
why he came back.
Mm.
And what is it? Was it part 6? They you can they actually have the book
And Jason Goes to Hell, they had the book.
Jason Goes to Hell, yeah.
Yeah, 9.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I saw the Necronomicon. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
What?
like, wait a-
What is that
Yeah, they
doing
had
there?
a whole expanded mythology. They were supposed to tie it in with like they've tried on a multitude of occasions to try to get an MC like an horror MCU, and it never works out. There's always somebody that ends up messing it up. I remember they were trying to do back in like the early 90s. They wanted to do like where all the like Friday the 13th, Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, all that stuff. They wanted to keep making the movies and have them all bleed into each other, and that's where the idea for Freddy vs. Jason, I believe, came from. Was they wanted to have everything kind of connect and intertwine, and that even fell through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It's crazy stuff, man. It's crazy. But we'll definitely be seeing, because I think this is actually great news for Friday the 13th fans, because this is the best time for them to delve into a quote unquote prequel, because we don't have a movie yet, and it's been a long time since we've had anything. And like you said earlier, Faith, the last couple of installments have been all over the map. So now it's almost like we can start fresh from this show on out, into a movie, if they do it right. And you would hope that they would be thinking like we're thinking,
Hopefully.
So
I wish they would have. I
Good
wish they would have expanded the Friday the 13th sequel. Like I wouldn't mind, or not sequel, remake. Like I wouldn't mind if like the New Line Cinema one, if they actually made like if this one's like part 2 to that, because I thought they did a great job. I thought it was one of the better remakes.
Yeah,
I thought it tied in great. I loved how they basically, they summarized all the events that happened at Crystal Lake and everything in the opening credits and stuff. Right? You saw Mrs. Voorhees also. I like that, and I wish that I wouldn't mind if they like instead of just rebooting it all over again, just picking up from where that one left off.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the remakes that probably one of the very few that I really didn't mind. Like, they didn't have a problem with.
Same here. I thought it was pretty
he just
good.
didn't want people to touch his pot. Moral of the story:
That's
don't
right.
steal people's drugs.
Don't mess with Jason's weed, man. That's what it's all about.
Oh gosh.
Yes, indeed.
Well, maybe it wasn't perfect, but
true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's a remake. It's hard,
Hey,
I mean, look at Freddy
there's
and
a
all
moral
those
to
other
a story.
disasters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But anytime there's a moral to a story where you can learn a lesson, it's a good movie, and that's what that was.
Oh,
right.
Dang.
Don't steal people's shit.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. Morals to the story for horror movies. That's what we're talking about. But anyways, for you guys in the chat, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate it. And let us know in the comment section down below, what you guys think of the new Friday 13th news. Where do you think it'll go? It looks like, you guys are coming up with some great stuff in the live chat. Let us know in the comment section down below, because there are a lot of places where it can go. There really is. And as fans, we're pretty excited about that, to be quite honest. But also, please make sure you hit the like button if you have not already. And also, and we just have
Real quick.
we're ending
Dude,
up
that's
here.
happened a lot.
Whoa!
At least it came in on time.
Jennifer jumping in with a $20 super chat and just
Aw.
popping in to say happy
Hey.
Friday, and that I'm loving the news that Scream moved up. Have a good one. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you, Jennifer.
Much appreciated.
So kind
Very,
of you.
very cool. Yeah.
And yes, we're all excited. I think we're all pretty pumped right now about that news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, definitely, please make sure you give the video a like, and also to remind you guys, and are you guys going to be streaming later on, Steven or Fate?
I'm not till tomorrow night at my normal time at 9:30.
Okay. All right.
I did my Friday stream this morning, 12 p.m.
Oh, well, geez.
Go check that out.
Oh, so I'm right behind.
Yeah, but other than that, no, just I have a post-game stream over on my sports channel. Other than that,
okay.
Nada.
All right. Well, for the rest of you guys, in less than a half hour, I'll be doing my Hangout birthday stream, and you guys hopefully can swing on by. I'll put the link in the live chat. So definitely hit the link. Get ready to hang out with a few of us in a little while, and we're going to be continuing discussions about things like Friday 13th and Terrifier 2, and also some interactive games, which should be
Nice.
very, very fun. So, all right. Well, we will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really, really, really appreciate the support, and we'll catch you guys later. The collective has spoken. Peace.
Bye, guys.